Welcome to the training on Outlook 2007. This is for the email unit, and I'm going to start off with a brief overview of how Outlook 2007 functions. So I've imported an old email account into Outlook here, and we can see that the whole application seems to break down into various sections. So at the moment you can see that in orange here I've got the mail section highlighted, and so we're seeing everything at the moment that's to do with email. I've also got calendars, contacts, tasks, and some notes there. We're going to mainly be focusing on mail and calendar in this first podcast. So the simplest way to start is to create a new email. Let's send a new email. And there's two. The first thing you should know is there's a little button by the side of the new here. Okay, so we've got this toolbar along the top which gives us access to things that we might want to do quickly and repeatedly. And depending on which section you're in, okay, so mail or calendar or contacts, depending on which section you're in, when you press the new button, you'll get a new version of whatever that section is. So for example, when we're in mail and we press new, it does a new blank email. If we're in calendar and we press new, it will do a new calendar appointment. You can, however, press the little drop down button to the side of new, and it brings up all of the different things that you can create. So you can create a new appointment or calendar, a new contact, a new distribution list, and we'll be looking at how you do all these things. So that's the first thing to know. If you're in the correct section, by pressing new, it will create one of those, so a new email or new calendar. And if you're not in the correct section, then you press the little arrow button to the side to bring up this greater list. So let's go ahead. As we're here now, we'll just choose mail message. And this is the basic email message. So we can put in an email address. So let's just write test@test.com, and that's going to be that's the to field there. We've also got the CC field. Okay. So I've pressed the CC button, and CC here stands for carbon copy. So I can either double click on the name and it will put it in the CC field, or I can click on the name and then press the button and it will put it in the field. So here we've got BCC and here we've got CC. So CC stands for carbon copy. So that's for anybody that you want to have the information go to, but you're not really expecting them to reply to the information. If there are any questions in it, they're not expected to answer those questions that are in the email. You're just sending it to them for their information only. The BCC field stands for blind carbon copy, and that's for when you need to discreetly send somebody the information. So the difference is that if we were sending this email, Pete here, he would see that both Paul M and Test had been sent the email, okay? But Paul M and Test wouldn't see Pete. So any names that appear in the BCC field are hidden from everybody else. And a really good use for this, so there's one is like the sneaky, you want to send somebody some information but you don't want other people to see. I tend to use this, and I use it a lot. I tend to use it when I'm sending information to a group of people, but I don't want each other to see everybody's email address. It's not really polite to, if you're sending an email out to 30 people, you know their email addresses, but all those other 30 people don't need to know everybody else's email address. And so if you put them in the BCC field, so what I'll typically do is send an email to myself, I'll put my own email in the to field, and then I put everybody else in the BCC field, and then they just see that then everybody else just sees my email address and obviously their email address. But they don't see everybody else's email address, and it's pretty good etiquette to do it that way round. Okay, so once we've chosen who we're going to send it to, we press the OK button, and then the BCC has just appeared here. So I'm going to use the word test probably a lot in this. So the subject is always have a subject. Okay, just a tiny little synopsis of what the email's about. And then you can go ahead and yeah, just say, "Hi Dan, hope you are well. Kind regards." Whoops. Kind regards, Fred. Whatever Fred is. So I've just written a very, very basic email there, but I've done it because I want to show you a couple of other things that we can do. So, first thing is this message very important or of high importance? If it is, we've got this little exclamation mark here, okay? And we can press that little exclamation mark. And when people receive an email, and let me just have a little look through some emails I've received. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing. Obviously, people don't think that I'm worth sending any important information to, or people aren't you. Ah, there's one. Okay, so here, this red exclamation mark. This is what the high, and so you can see. So from all the emails that I've got here, this one is standing out slightly. Okay, and that's because they clicked the high importance button. Okay, I don't actually think that was a particularly important email, but so to get that to appear, you just click it here, and once you've clicked it, it turns orange to show you it's clicked. If you have a particularly low self-worth, there is also the low importance button that you can click if you don't really feel that you're very interesting and that anybody really cares what you're saying. So I don't think anybody's ever clicked that in the history of mankind, but it is there. Okay. Now, something else that people often do, and that they do a lot, is they attach files to an email. Okay, and we've got this big paper clip here, and you can think of it, just like attaching something to a physical folder. You might paper clip it in place. So to attach something to an email, we press the attach button. Up pops a list of all the different things we've got. Now, I've got very little on this computer, but I've got a little bit of free music that came with the machine. So let's attach a small one here and insert that. Okay, made with flaxen hair. I have no idea what that is, but there we go. So all the process is, and I'll just do it one more time, you click the attach button, you navigate on your computer to where you want to go to, and then you click on the file and you press insert, and it'll appear in this little bar here. Okay, so that's great. We can, of course, and things that you're probably familiar with from programs like Microsoft Word, we can change the size of the text. And what got introduced into 2007 is I'm not clicking on any of these. As I roll over them, it's just showing me what it will look like at different sizes. Okay, and the same thing happens with the font. As I roll over the font, you can see that the item that I selected is changing and just showing me how it looks in a different font. Okay, and obviously we've got lots of different fonts to choose from. Okay, I think I'll leave it with Calibri. I can also click on the letter here, and I can choose a variety of different colours. And again, without clicking, I can just hover over them, and I can get it to show me all the different colours that are available. Okay, so I'm just going to, just for demonstration, I'm just going to show you. We've also got the bold, italic, and underline. So let's go the whole hog. Turn all those on, and we get this sort of standard turned orange just to show that we're using it. Okay, we can also have something centered or right aligned, but I think that might be going a bit far. I'm just going to click off of that now so we can see what we've done here. So I've got I've got a line here that I've coloured I've coloured the text. I've changed the size of the text. I didn't change the font, but I could do. I've also made the text bold, italic, and underlined. Okay, and these are all things that you can do in a HTML email. Okay, you can't do this in a plain text email. So let's just go ahead and change this to a plain text email. So to change to a plain text, we come across to the options panel. Okay, and then there are three types of emails. We're not really going to. Rich text is a sort of a mixture between the two. So this has all been HTML because it's given us all this ability to change, to have lovely colours and things like that. I can simply change this to plain text. Okay, I get this warning that some of the features, so the color and things. So let's just press continue. I could turn that off so it doesn't show me that next time, but let's just press continue and see what happens now. So what's happened? Well, we know everything's gone to a standard font. Okay, we no longer have the ability. Look, format text. We no longer have the ability to change the size of the font, the color of the font. We can't do anything to this. Okay, it will be a slightly smaller file size, so that's a small benefit. The main benefit of this is that when you receive a HTML email, so the one with all the color, you know, that can have like a whole web page built into that email. And I'm sure you've all received emails these days, you know, from maybe a holiday company, and it's got all sorts of information in there. Well, because of all that code that's actually in the email, you could have somebody could write some malicious code, okay, and that malicious code could do all sorts of harm to your computer, especially if your computer wasn't fully protected and patched and up to date and things like that. And so sending things plain text just stops that possibility. Okay. Obviously, you'd have to change your options to only receive plain text emails, but in doing so, your computer would be safer. It would be safer. So one other thing I want to show you while we're sending an email message is under options. We've got two buttons here, two tick boxes that I can turn on. One is requesting a delivery receipt, and one is requesting a read or read receipt. Okay, so I'll just explain. So a delivery receipt is something that gets automatically sent back when the server at the other end receives it. So let me just explain that. So I'm sending this email to test@test.com. So the first thing that happens with an email is the email sort of it works from right to left. And so what it'll do is it will actually find the domain test.com, and it will send my email there, and then when it gets to test.com, it will see if there is a user called test there, and if there is, the email will be delivered to them. Okay, so when the email arrives at test.com and the server checks to see if test exists, at that point, if it does exist, then a delivery receipt can be sent back from the from the server. Okay. With a read receipt, now the delivery receipts are sort of pretty much all automated. You almost always will get one back if you request one. A read receipt, on the other hand, is when it actually gets sent to the test person. When it actually gets sent to them and they've read the email, their version of Outlook or other email program fires off a little email to say, "Yep, I've read that." Okay, and then you get a little email back, so you've got proof that somebody read something. However, this ability to send an email, you can turn that off, because you wouldn't want your own computer to sort of go against you, to snitch on you, if you didn't want the person to know you've read that. So you can turn off read receipts, but you generally can't turn off delivery receipts. I think it can be done at a much higher level, at a sort of email server level. But on the general level, you will always generally receive a delivery receipt. However, you can't guarantee that you'll receive a read receipt. So I'm not going to send this email because I don't think these people would like to get this random message. So I'm just going to press the little X in the top right hand corner. It tells me it's automatically saved to draft copy, but I don't want to keep it, so I'm going to just say no and come out of there for a second. So now I want to go ahead and look at contacts within Outlook. So I'm going to click on the Contact tab, and I'm going to press the New button. And because we're in the Contacts section, then it will automatically come up with creating a new contact. So this is a singular contact. So I'm just going to put in some details. So I'll put in my full name. Okay, there. And I'll put in my email address, or I'll put in a test one. Okay, so that's good. And you can fill out as much information on here as you want. So let's put in a phone number. I'll put in our works phone number there. Okay, and the company name. And I'm just sort of jumping around here, but I'm just filling in different boxes. Now I've got the file as option, so I prefer it to go first name, surname. So I can choose to have Dan Heaford rather than Heaford Dan. And we get up here in the top right hand corner a little visual representation, a little sort of business card that's being made. Okay, and we could add more mobile numbers. You can make notes on here. This is a note. Whoops. So we can just build up more things. Okay, and then when we're happy, and this is the important part, when we're very happy with this contact, we press save and close. Okay, and then that business card then gets added. Okay, so that's how you add a business card, or how you add a contact, sorry, to your address book. So what we also want to do is we want to look at the idea of setting up a distribution list. Okay, so I have to click on the little arrow to the side of new to choose distribution list. And a distribution list, these can be really useful if you have to often send emails to the same group of people. So there could be a team of you in your office, or several sites that you work at, or something like that. But if you're regularly sending emails to a group of people, then you may find setting up a distribution list very useful. And so what you do is you give it a name. So let's call it test group. Okay, so that's the first part. And then it's quite easy actually. All we do after that is I can either select people from my address book. Okay, so I'll click on that, and here are the people that I've got in my address book. So let's imagine it's going to go to Jeff and to Paul and to Pete, and I press OK, and those names appear here. Or I can go to this one and add a new person, and a new person that's not in my address book. So let's say Dan Smith, and let's say the email address is dan@smith.com. Okay, and I can tick here, and it will automatically add it to my contacts. So that's quite useful. But if I don't want it to my contact, I don't see the problem. I don't see why you wouldn't add that tick box. And then you press OK. And again, it gets added in the list here. So once I've given it a name and I've entered all my different contacts in, the next important thing to do is to save and close. And then what we'll have is under these lists is we'll have a test group. Okay, so this card looks slightly different, and I can view things in different ways. I can come over to this view and I can look at address cards. Okay, now from this view we can see that the test group that's been created here has got a different icon. It's got these three heads, and those three heads indicate that it's a group. And so by double clicking, I can come inside and I can see that they're there. Okay, I'm just going to close that down now. So now that we've created our test group, we might want to send them an email. So we'll come into the mail category. You don't have to do it this way, but I just prefer to. Press new. And then if I press the to button here to bring up my contacts, towards the bottom of my contacts list, I'll have this test group. And again, you can see that it's bolded, darker colour. It's also got a different icon. Okay, and I can choose, so I'm going to highlight it, and again I can either press the to button, the CC button, or the BCC button to choose which field that drops into. So I'm just going to say the to button, press OK, and we can see that it actually displays slightly differently. This is how we would want to see it in any screenshots, but I'll just press this plus button. I'll just show you what happens. If you expand this list, Outlook will replace the list with its members. Okay, so I'll just say OK, and it actually replaces the actual list with the individual people, and thus I could remove one of them from me sending an email to them if I so wished. I'm not going to send an email to those people, so I'm just going to say no there. Okay. Let's go back into contacts. Something else that we need to be able to do is to be able to sort contact lists either by categories or search them. Okay, so if I choose a more, over here on the different views, these business cards, you can't really do searches on these. But if I bring up the phone list, for example, and these are all just different views, you can just click on any of these and have things displayed to you in different methods. If you click on the phone list, then I could sort by company. So if I'd correctly filled in company and addresses for all these, then I can click on the company tab and it's putting them all in company list. I can do them alphabetically by clicking on, so here's some sorting. So that's reasonably useful. What's more useful though is to come over to this box and just search. So let's see who all my contacts are that begin with a D. So I put a D in that box and immediately you can see the yellow highlighted, the D's in these contacts. And that's obviously far quicker, especially when you've got lots of contacts. I just type a bit of the name in here. You know, as I go ahead and type more of the name, so DA, we lose the dentist there. Okay, so that's quite good. And then when I want to remove this search, I simply come over to this X and I clear the search. In this drop-down box, I can look at recent searches I've done. So there we can see those last 2 searches that I've just done there. Okay. One last bit of information is we have to zip a file. Okay, and so if I just minimize Outlook for a second, let's just show you how you go about zipping a file up. So I've got a folder here that I want to zip. Now you might zip things to, you can't attach a folder to an email to start off with, so you have to attach things individually. So that's a good reason to use zipping. Zipping also compresses things so they get smaller in file size. Some things are compressed, so photos for example, they tend not to really reduce in size because they're already quite compressed. But zipping is very easy. It's built into Windows XP and any since, and you simply right click on the thing you'd like to zip and you choose send to compressed folder. So I've highlighted it here on the screen. When I press, when I do the left click, oh, I didn't actually have anything inside that folder, and so it tells me that I can't. That'll teach me to not check. So I'm just going to create a new text document. Okay, and I'm going to zip this up instead. Okay, so I'm going to send to compressed folder, and there we go. We have, it's called new text. So I just called it zipped. You don't have to change the name, or I've called it zipper. Okay, so that's a zip. Now I've got a separate program on my computer called WinRAR that we can see down here in the bottom left hand corner, and that little icon of these 3 books, that's the WinRAR icon. Your zipped folders will almost certainly look different unless you've got WinRAR installed, but don't worry about that. So now let's attach this zip to a, I'll just put it on the desktop so it's nice and easy to find. Let's attach this zip to an email. So I'm going to be in the new email program, and let's say I want to send one to this person here, Dan Smith. Okay, so I'm going to, I'm simply going to go into mail. Okay, and I'm going to choose new. I'm going to press the 2 button, choose Dan Smith, press 2 again, choose OK, and then I'm going to attach this zip file. So I'm going to press on the paperclip icon to attach a file. I'm then going to find it. Well, I knew I put it on the desktop, so I'm going to come over here to where it says desktop and click there. And then let's have a look around my desktop. There it is. There's our zipper. I'm going to click it once, and I'm going to choose insert. And there we go. That's added the zipped file to my document. So what about, I'm not going to save that. Conversely, sometimes you might get sent a zipped file. Okay? And I'm going to right click. This is how you open. Now, like I say, I've got this other program built in here, but again, it is built into Windows to unzip files, and so generally, if you just double click on something, I have to choose Open with Windows Explorer. Okay, and you can see that it almost looks like a normal Windows window, almost does, but except one difference is it says Extract All Files at the top here. So if I press that, it launches this little extractor. And it's a very simple process of just asking me where I want to put it. So it's already said the desktop inside a folder called zipper that it's going to make for me. There's no need to have that folder called zipper on the end. So I'm just going to delete that. But there's no harm. I'm going to choose extract, and there it pops out on my desktop. Okay, so that's a new text document there, which was inside a zip. So I'm just going to close down these windows. So there's just a few little things that I just want to mention. These are all sort of quite small, but very useful little features. Let's go back into Outlook. I want to set some message flags here, and these are just for my own, and I use this all the time, it's just for my own convenience, my own priority, just so that I know. So say I want to come back to this email, I click these little flags, little flag icons, just to the left, just to the right, sorry, of any email, and what it does is it pops up on the screen and just puts these little flags there. And these are just visual reminders, okay? They're just things that I can see so that I know that I've got to come back and do something here. So I read through a bunch of emails. As I know that they're important, so they're purely there just as a visual aid memoir. Okay, so let's look at something else. So I can right-click on an item. So that's this little deal task ticker, God knows what that is. Something I once obviously signed up for. But I'm finding that that's just junk email. So I can right click on any email that I am not interested in, and I can choose add sender to block senders list. Okay? And when I click and do that, I will never again get emails from that company or from that person. Okay, so you can if you realise you've made a mistake, you can rectify it. Okay, but that is how you mark an email as junk. Okay, or add it to the block senders list. I right click on it, I come down to junk email, and I choose add sender to block senders list. I can't show you out of Office because I haven't got that functionality with this email address, but generally out of Office is just under tools, and I'm sure a lot of you will know how to do it. Okay, you could always create a rule, but we're not going to go into that today. So hopefully most of you will have out of Office into your tools section. And the last thing I'd like to show you is how you create some folders. Okay, so folders are used in order to just archive and store email. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of folders that I've got here, and all you do is you right click on your inbox or wherever you'd like to create the folder, and you just choose new folder. Okay, you give that folder a name, so I'll just call it test, as I've called everything else test today, and I say OK, and that folder will then be created. We can see here it is down in my email, and then I can just put, if I wanted that, let's say this email, I can just drag an email and I can put it in. I'm just dragging, I've still got my finger on it. When I let go, that email will then get moved into that folder called test. And there it is. We can see that there's one email inside the test folder. And folders are very useful, just like you have folders on your computer for organising information, then you can have folders in your email as well. So very useful functionality. Okay, that's all we're going to do today. Next week we're going to look at the Personal Information Unit, PIM. So until then, I'll see you next week. Cheers, bye-bye.